Kayla here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to answer a specific question. I hear it quite a bit, and it was about exercise. Now, I still want to do a specific video on like intuitive exercise altogether, but this one in specific called to me to answer, and I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about my experience with this too personally. So anyways, the question was, if I don't compulsively exercise, do I continue exercising? You mentioned, I haven't gotten my period back yet, but I'm on the basketball club in school and I'm wondering whether I should stop going for a while. So this is a tough one because I'm sure there is pressure to continue from your family or from, your coach or your school or whatever, right? If not, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I almost always recommend no exercise until the period returns and are consistent and regular. If they're inconsistent and they're all over the place, they're too short and then they're too long and then they last forever, or they're way too heavy, or just like all this sporadicness in the period, then I don't recommend to add in all this exercise just because your period has returned. You still got some stuff to do, and you want to make sure it's consecutively returning 3 months in a row, regularly, all these things that you want to look out for. There's more to it than that, but that's just briefly going over it. Don't get too carried away just because the period returns and you're excited, and I know it's exciting, or it's bittersweet, the period returning. We're like, yay, the period's returned, but oh shit, I have like PMS and like cramps, or whatever you get. Some people don't get that, some people do. Whatever, so it's a bittersweet thing, but it's a sign of health. Are you healthy or are you not healthy? Like, do you have your period or do you not? The period is a sure sign of showing what condition your body is in. It's one of the determining factors. So we want our period despite the bittersweet relationship we have with it, right? So back to your question though, even then, even when you're starting to introduce exercise, you want to introduce exercise very mildly, very lightly, once or twice a week, or just walking and stretching still, adding in the exercise slowly, not just going extreme again and losing yourself on me. And then, making sure to keep yourself in check, so the period does not disappear again, or you don't go down that rabbit hole and lose yourself to exercise compulsion and addiction again, or body obsession that may be as a result from too much exercise, right? You start to see certain body changes and then you start to get attached to that body again, and then if anything ever changes in the future, then you just can't deal with it, and then you create an identity around a certain body again, and then all the exercise goes to maintaining a body rather than just feeling good, so it's for all the wrong reasons rather than good reasons, healthy reasons, balanced reasons. Because what happens is people may get too chillax with themselves in recovery, and they don't keep themselves in check. And soon enough, that mild, light exercise turns into a couple more days a week, and then 6 days a week, and then every day, or then double the amounts per day, and hours and hours a day, or miles and miles a day. And it just keeps going up and up until it turns into a compulsion again, and an addiction, or a coping mechanism, or you just fear gaining weight and you become body obsessed and you lose yourself and you think that your worth only comes from your body, and all these things. And then you start fearing food because of this, and you want to earn or burn your calories, and it's just this whole cycle that ties in together, right? We have to be super aware of ourselves and mindful of if we're taking it too far and focusing too much on how the body looks from exercise rather than how the exercise makes you feel, right? We want to go for a feeling, not just a look. We want to feel good, we want to feel comfortable. It's not just about having abs or a flat stomach or, a Kim Kardashian butt to get other people's approval, to fit in, to be the ideal of sexy at that moment in time of beauty culture, and then it's going to change, and then you're going to have to morph again and go against your body structure, this whole cycle too. Like I was saying, we then cling to this perhaps fit body again, lean body again. As this happens, then the body may begin showing signs of malnourishment or semi-starvation or low energy or leg bruising, or your hair starts falling out again and it's just too stressful in your body. Even if you think it shouldn't be that much, compared to what other people are doing, so it shouldn't be that much, but it's too much for your body and maybe for you at that moment in your life. So maybe you could have more in the future or less in the future, or what's good for you right now, All this starts to happen. All of these signs begin to show themselves, but then we may ignore or put off these signals that it's becoming the level that they're doing or the amounts that they're doing is becoming too much for their body. And then they begin to fear gaining weight if they back off the amounts of exercise that they've reintroduced. Back to the question now, I understand that you've mentioned your intentions are not to compulsively exercise, which is great, but here's the thing, you still don't have your period. So whether you have good intentions or not, if the body is starved enough to keep the reproductive system off, the period gone, then the body is showing that it's in a state of stress and in a detrimental way, and that it needs rest and it needs a lot of nourishment. And what you're currently doing is not good. It's not a good environment for your body to heal, to turn back on the reproductive system, to turn back on your period, to show that it's healthy enough to carry another life form, another baby. You don't even have enough energy for yourself, let alone another baby. If I were you in your position, regardless, I would take time off of the exercise completely until my period returned. You have the rest of your life to play basketball. If that's your passion, you'll find a way to play ball. But overall, your health and survival should be number one top priority. And playing basketball when your body isn't in a healthy state, obviously your period's gone, then it's going to be more detrimental than anything. It's not going to be healthy for you. Exercise is for healthy people, as I've said before. So I want to give you an example. When I was in recovery, I thought because my period was back after the first couple of months of getting my period back, although it was not regular but very sporadic, and still faced extreme hunger and binging, and I was feeling heavy and uncomfortable and wanting to get in control of this whole recovery thing, not being patient and just letting things happen, and so wanting to speed up the weight loss process. I added back in exercise, but it wasn't light exercise like I talk about. It was high intensity, lots of weights kind of workouts. The intention at this point was still deep down coming from a place of weight control, because I couldn't cope, or I wasn't trying to cope with the weight gain. I wanted to add back in the exercise to make up for the high amounts of calories that were coming in that I was feeding my body, because I felt guilty and ashamed of how much I was eating and for not exercising to compensate. Although my body obviously needed every single calorie it screamed for and needed the complete rest from exercise to carry out the healing from the energy coming in. I continued to binge eat. My hunger and satiety remained out of whack, but I still couldn't let go of the exercise. So this exercising went on for about 10 months until at one point I was finally forced into stopping exercise completely, because obviously I couldn't do it myself. So God or the universe was like, okay, Kayla, if you're not going to stop, then I'll force you to stop. Did the experiences of feeling like you were going to die every night for years, not register? So yeah, I wasn't fully committed. It's hard to at that point in the beginning phase. And, I wasn't keeping myself and my intentions in check. And therefore, I suffered the consequences by prolonging my recovery, continuing to suppress my metabolism, and not fully let go. I came down with mononucleosis, which is an illness that can last a long time, a month or months at a time, depending on if you rest or not. And if you have mono, you're not allowed to exercise at all. Or else your spleen, which is an abdominal organ, a part of the immune system, can literally burst and rupture. I could feel my spleen under my left rib, and any time in the first week before I knew I had mono, or, before I went to the doctor to get it checked, my spleen would ache when I would exercise or go on a hike. So I had no choice, because anytime I tried, the spleen would be like, no, not gonna happen. Sit your ass back down and let's rest. Literally, I had to be forced. Plus, mono comes with extreme fatigue. So I was already fatigued, right? And when I was dieting, and then when I was in recovery, I was still fatigued in the early phase. And then here, I was extremely fatigued. So yeah, I was forced to stop exercise. And after several months, this virus or illness or whatever went away. But during that period, I was shown that, hey, I wasn't exercising and continually stressing my body out. But during that couple of months of complete rest, my extreme hunger and cravings began to die down finally. The edema and swelling, as well as the overshoot weight gain, began to, come down a bit. Not completely, because this is a process that took months and months, right, to slowly come off. But also my satiety became present finally with less amounts of food, which I'm not saying one should be eating less food necessarily. It's just what ended up happening naturally, right? So if this happens naturally, then that's what the body wants. But it's just the fact that I could feel the satiety. I wasn't just like always constantly extremely hungry, because my body was in a constant state of stress because I wasn't letting go of the exercise, and my body needed to rest and it needed all the energy, right? Because although I felt guilty for all the calories, my body didn't feel guilty. It was like, no, we need this. So again, this happened naturally after my body wasn't stressed from the exercise that it didn't want to do, coming from the negative compulsive mindset and obsession with weight gain. So, I was able to let go of the attachment to the exercise and how I felt it was needed and in high amounts in order to maintain a healthy weight. I found out it was quite the opposite, and how I needed to approach exercise in a healthier, more balanced way when I had the energy to, or if I was having back pain, or to help with my mental health, but not in an extreme neurotic obsessive way. Only if my body wasn't being starved, it was being fueled properly, because I knew at that point that it had to heal first and set that healthy foundation, build that healthy foundation in order to grow from. Not try to grow from a weak, unsteady foundation that's starved and malnourished and stressed the hell out, right? That's just gonna break eventually. Biology will end up winning or catching up with you. So I had to heal first physically and mentally and emotionally, not heal completely, right? Because we're not perfect. Even this is going to be a lifelong journey, right? But enough to be able, just in this department of our lives, to heal that mental and emotional and physical around food and eating and exercising and the binge eating or the malnourishment and all this stuff. So we have to do this first in order to get the benefits from body movement, intuitive exercise, whatever you want to call it, because exercise is, only really stressful on the body if it's starved. And overworked and overtrained and, just a stressed out body from all of these things, because all of these things are stressful. Okay, so anyways, after the next 11 months, things continued to balance out slowly while I continued to not exercise, other than some non-extreme hikes here and there, or, a walk at the park, or power yoga only once a week, or yin yoga, if that, and that's it. My life is pretty sedentary because, I'm self-employed. I do a lot of computer work at home mostly, but lo and behold, I found myself in a very stressed out state, going through a stressful growing pain period in my life, as well as another form of super stress where I was doing too much exercise again, like 4 times a week, level 2 power yoga. And yeah, that was too much for me at that point. I used to do every day, 2 hours, 3 hours a day. But at this point in my life, like my body, it's like, it got a taste of what balance looks like. And it's like, nope, that's too much for us right now. So this time it was because I felt competitive with my significant other. And I knew deep down that I was doing too much for myself at that moment in my life, but I ignored it. And this only happened briefly, so this only went on for a couple of months. And then I got a back injury. So this time, it wasn't coming from a place of, oh, I want to lose weight or change my body, but it came from a place of competitiveness. And I was consciously pushing myself further than my body wanted, clearly, and ignoring its signs to take it a notch down and rest. And as a result, I got that back injury that was so bad that I couldn't do anything. Even walking for a time for a couple of months aggravated it. And this went on for months, about 6 months. So it was yet again another lesson to keep my ass in check. Wherever the intentions are coming from, that do not serve my greatest good. Now, I currently don't really have a fitness regime, it's not structured, it's really sporadic. And for the past almost a year, I haven't done much of any consistent exercise, to be 100% honest, considering that back injury happened last February. So I've done yin yoga for my back pain because I have scoliosis. I'll go on a hike maybe once a month or twice a month. Maybe if we're on a hiking trip or a camping trip more. Or I like to do Pilates sometimes or go swimming. I like group classes sometimes, but it's not that often. And I can't tell you it's twice a week. I can't tell you it's 4 times a week. I can't tell you it's once a week, because every week it literally changes depending on my schedule, depending on my energy levels, depending on my motivation, depending on whether I feel like it, depending on for whatever reason. I'm still pretty sedentary, although, currently, I would like to be a bit more active because I have the energy, I have the desire to, and it helps my mental state sometimes. But sometimes it helps my mental state to not do exercise. It really just depends, So that may change in the future, and then it's going to change, and then it's going to change again, and it's going to always be changing. But out of all of it, I know that I have to keep myself in check indefinitely to make sure to check in with myself and my intentions. And I know 110% that I'd never, ever want to go. Never say never, but it's like, honestly, I just have that knowing, like, why would I ever want to go back to where I was? My intentions are good. I would never want to be in a starved state again. I need to eat. I need the brain power. I need the body power. I just need it. I have too much shit to do with my schedule. There's no time to not eat. Okay? Can't get anything done. So, I would also never want to go through recovery. It's just not worth it. It is so not worth it to have to go back and then go through recovery again. Like, no, Anyways, if you're having a hard time quitting the exercise addiction or exercise abuse or cutting back or taking a rest for however many months that you need, and you remain in this pseudo recovery or quasi recovery, and you can't seem to get to where you want to be, first of all, this stuff takes time, as in years, so be patient. But second, are you being honest with yourself? Do you need even more of a rest of exercise, even if your period is present? Do you need to eat more of a variety of foods and you still hold on to a few restrictions in your diet because of a specific health trend out there that says sugar is the devil, or gluten is inflammatory, or meat is acidic and mucus forming, or whitewashed grains are going to cause leaky gut? And so something like this that you still need to let go of? Are you not learning the necessary lessons from each situation in your recovery or in your life that you end up in? And therefore they continue to repeat themselves, maybe in different ways, but they still repeat themselves, and you continue to stay stuck because you're not focusing on the internal and often harder work than physical recovery. Not saying that physical recovery is easy, no way. But I'm just saying the internal mindset work and the beliefs around food and your body and, reconnecting with your true self and letting yourself really show yourself and being vulnerable and, other emotional and mental issues and blocks, this kind of stuff is really hard. And, I'm still working on so much of it, but I've gotten so much further than I was 3 years ago, you know, or last year even. Like, I've learned so much in 2018. It's December. It's that reflecting time of like, oh my gosh, what did I do with my life this year? But, you know, it's been a lot of growing, and I'm grateful for all of the growing pains and all of the ups and downs. And, you know, I hope that you could say the same too. It's hard in the moment, but taking a step back, it's like, okay, you know, yeah, that was good actually. So anyways, do you have any of like these things going on that you gotta question yourself on? Because, you know, if you don't, then the universe or God or whatever you believe in will force you to. Or you'll have a long, hellish life of an existence. So I want you to keep challenging yourself no matter how painful things get. Know that if you're called to step up for a specific challenge in your life, but in your gut, you know you're on the right path, that you have to get over this thing in order to take yourself to the next level in your recovery, that these are growing pains and they are helping you, not hurting you, and that you're safe to step into your power finally, that you're meant for, that you came to this planet for. It's a long journey that we all have, but at the same time, a life of complacency and just, you know, not challenging yourself and staying safe is just dull and boring and meaningless. And, you know, but there's some people that enjoy that, and I'm not, you know, stomping on that parade either. But, you know, if you're called to this, then step up to the plate and own that you're meant for more. Because if you don't, then this kind of dull, boring, safe lifestyle will only maybe push you back into the obsessive, addictive, negative coping behaviors and lifestyles, and then the cycle will just continue. So challenge yourself to be completely honest with yourself this week, okay? Ask yourself, what's the next best move that you know deep down that you need to face, but you've been putting off because the fear gets in the way. Do the exact opposite of what the fear tells you to do and turn to the trust. Trusting yourself, trusting your body, trusting your gut and your intuition and all that good stuff. So that's all for this one. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I hope this video has helped you this week. Let me know in the comments below what it is that you could be more honest with yourself about and what you're gonna do to challenge yourself. With that, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.